Okay, this is a video for Networking 104. This is Chapter 2, and I'm doing the first half of Chapter 2, kind of an explanation of what's going on. The book is, from the way I'm understanding it, is kind of based on these two companies, the stadium company story and the film company story. And then there's the networking company team that we're going to be job shadowing with to help upgrade and redesign the network of these two companies that I believe are merging together. That's kind of how I understood it. So I recommend that you read those stories. That's what I would say. So the Cisco Life Cycle Network, the life cycle of a network, comes in 6 different phases. There's the prepared phase, the plan phase, the design phase, the implement phase, operate phase, and the optimize phase. And the whole process is referred to as the PPIDOO phase. And, well, or I don't know if they call that phase or not. But anyway, it's all based on the first letter of each one of those phases. So that's where that comes from. So each phase is kind of designed with the activities of that phase. And like the prepared phase, you do the stuff in it, and then it moves into the plan phase, and it just kind of rolls down. So if you screw up in the prepared phase, the whole thing's going to be messed up because they build on each other. So you just need to know what you're doing there. Don't ask me why that's doing that. So there's a little bit more on the stadium stuff. Um, I think I want to go to the next one. So in the prepared phase, this pretty much involves establishing the business requirements. What is the goal of the network upgrade? Proposing a high-level architecture with technologies that can support that architecture. Um, then these goals, they provide one foundation, and that's called your business case. So the business case pulls in the financial investment required to do this change, and your budget, your personnel, company policies, and your schedule limitations. So you do that business case, and once it's accepted by the networking company staff, assists in the development of the high-level technology strategies and solutions. So I'm really trying hard not to read all this, just pull it out of my head. I actually have it wrote down what I was going to say, but I can't seem to follow along with that either. But that's just me. So then you move on to the plan phase. So you go from the prepare phase, which is pretty much setting your business goals and your business case. So your customer experience, reduce costs, additional services, and the company expansions. So then it moves into the plan phase, which the plan phase, you're identifying the initial network requirements. And in these requirements, you're going to consider the goals, the facilities that you're going to be implementing this network in, your user needs. So this involves the sites in any existing networks. And are the existing networks able to support the proposed system? That's just a question you need to get an answer for. So this plan helps to really manage the tasks and responsibilities critical milestones, the resource requirements to carry out the changes to the network, um, the project plan should align with the cost and resources that you established in your original business plan, which was in the prepared phase. That makes sense. So then you move on from there. You move on to the design phase. And well, this is an activity, a lab activity, hands-on activity that we're not going to do. We're going to go past it. So in the design phase, from the plan phase, you go to the design phase is implemented. So see how they just kind of work off of each other. And it's a detailed design that meets the business and the technical requirements. So the design phase supports these four things: availability, scalability, security, and manageability. So availability is pretty much delivers consistent, reliable performance 24/7. So if there's a failure of a link or equipment, it should not affect the network performance. It should be reliable 24/7. Then your security is firewalls or antivirus protection. It's protection of your data and your hardware. Scalability is room for the network design to grow. You add new users, remote sites, new applications. So you can add all those without any impact on the level of the service of the users. And manageability is being able to manage the network simply and having the staff trained to manage that and know what they're doing. Sorry, I had to get a drink, excuse me. It was a drink of orange juice too, by the way. So then you move on to taking this part. So we're going to do this activity. So we're going to identify the aspects of the PPDIOO network. And for this series of questions, select the appropriate PPDIOO phase. What network lifecycle phase includes a site and operation assessment? And that would be the plan phase. Okay, what network lifecycle phase supports development of the business case? Well, that was the first one we talked about, prepared phase. And what network lifecycle phase produces the installation plan? Well, that would be design. So, yay. Now, the implement phase, this puts it all to work for us without any downtime for current network or any security gaps. So, this is where we test everything out. We've got everything we want to put together this new design or redesign of this network. So in a controlled environment, we set it all up. We test it all out. We make sure it all works before we really implement it. So the system level acceptance testing is where it's all checked out. All of the new redesign is all checked out to see if the new network meets the business goals and the design requirements that were provided by our customer that they wanted. Okay, so we're going to match the exercise. Excuse me. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. That was not good. Okay. I'm getting there at the sniffles. All right, so we need to match these with these. And when I do something like this, I just kind of look at it and go, oh, well, yeah, I know this is this right here because we just talked about that. So, um, oh, I think I forgot to mention this. The request for proposal will come up later, but yeah, I forgot to mention it back there. But it's this right here: document outlining a specific project, its requirements, and the purchasing and installation process, used to obtain bids from outside vendors, companies to complete the work. Um, let's see: document outlining reasons for financial investments for project and resulting benefits was our business case. Because remember, we talked about they had to do the financial thing, how they were going to come up with the money to do this big thing. And document outlining the task, problems, responsibilities, timeline, resources required to complete the project. Alrighty, so let's go back here a few pages where I messed up and forgot to talk about. Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, right here. The prepare phrase, in the prepared phrase, it's typically done before a company issues what they call a request for proposal, an RFP, or a request for quotation, an RFQ. So what these are is the customer that wants the redesign of the network puts these requests out, and they pretty much say, this is what I want to do. And they're pretty detailed, and it's what the contractor, the company will put them out to the contractors, or they'll post them on the website, or they'll send them to the contractors, and the contractors get to fill out their information. They put all their company information and their contact person in, and solutions of, they just pretty much answer this request word for what they answer each question, and it has to be complete or it's thrown out. In the RFP, the request for proposal, is done if you want a complete proposal. The request for quotation is if you've already got something going and you just need a quote from a contractor, and it's not as detailed as the proposal is. That's kind of what I got out of it. And we will talk about it again through this, so I'm not going to spend too much right there talking about it so I can get this going. Okay, we were right here. So the operate phase is the final test of the design. And maintaining, you test it, you put it out there, and it's all working. You have your technical staff out there monitoring it, watching what it does. I'm sure there's software that you use to monitor what your network does, so you can create the network baseline. And if you guys recall, we did a baseline packet tracer last term, and so that's what they use that for. Then they can refer, if something's goofy, they refer back to that baseline saying, oh, well, this wasn't, we monitored it here and got this baseline. It wasn't doing that. Let's go see what's going on, and that just helps the company to achieve their goal of the scalability, availability, security, and manageability. So the daily operations of the network will provide that initial data that it needs to go to the next step, which is the optimize phase. This is another hands-on lab. So the optimize phase is basically, this phase is proactive management of the network. So, with all the goals of identifying and resolving issues before they um, become a problem for the business. If too many issues occur in this phase, then a new design or a redesign might have to be um, implemented, or if things are just too out of whack with the one they've done. So, such as if your performance don't meet the requirements, or you have your new apps you need to support the organization or the technical requirements. So this whole entire process, the prepare phase, the plan phase, the um, design phase, the implement phase, the operate phase, and the optimize phase, is all referred to as the PPDIOO. Excuse me. Alrighty. Let's see if we can answer these questions right. Okay. Here we just identify when these happen. So identify devices, potential difficulties, and critical tasks. That would be in your plan phase. Resolve issues discovered during testing. Implement phase. Determine network requirements. Design phase. Compare user experience and deployment with project goals. Bring the network into service operate phase. Create plans and prototypes. That's this, and this one's this. I'm guessing. Well, I only got 2 wrong, so that's pretty good. Okay. Uh-oh. I think I forgot. Uh-oh. Okay, this one. Determine network requirements. Design. Bring network into service. Operate. Create. I think we did that, and it wasn't right. I got the same 2 wrong. You bonehead, just turn those 2 around. Sorry, you guys can laugh with me. Oh my gosh. So this one needs to be that. Uh-oh. This isn't right. Let's see if that's right. Yay! Okay. You think I should know that? I've been through this 3 times. Okay. Let's move forward here. This don't take forever. All right. Then sorry, I kind of lost my page here. Okay, so after the prepare phase is done, then a request for proposal or request for quote, which is these right here. I told you I was going to talk about them again. See, you guys, don't ever doubt me. Okay, these 2 requests describe the requirements of the new network, which includes information about the process of the purchase and installing networking technologies. So that's what those 2 do. So when they go out, then they kind of tell you and the contractor sends stuff back in, they have to send a cover letter. They, I know I had this someplace. Anyway, they send a cover letter. This cover letter needs to have the information of the people in it, uh, the people, the person to contact. It's the company letterhead, the contact information of the company, contact person for the project, your phone and your fax number, and the summary of the proposal project. Then the executive summary is the definition of problems or requirements of the customer, any recommended solutions, and reason why, in this case the network company, is the right choice to do this job. Then you do the proposed solution, and that is a detailed description of the solution, the project team, the timeline, dates and tasks, warranty and defective parts, how we're going to handle this, the description of what is considered major or minor problems, response in case of any disaster or trouble, how we're going to respond to that, responsibility of the company as related to the ISP, where we start and the ISP begins, who's responsible for upgrade requirements, terms and conditions for damage caused by the company, equipment, and personnel to the customer's site. Then you have the proposed cost, which is pretty much your budget details. It covers your software, your hardware, your licensing, fees, permits, training, warranties, support, travel, telecommunication, payment methods, cost related to rental stuff, anything that's got the dollar sign behind it. Then the signature page is just that. That's where the customer representing signs it. And the appendix, sorry, I can't say that word, is additional information supporting the proposal, which is more detailed stuff. A list of your equipment and services, any diagrams that you have or forms, the background, more background information on the company, any references, insurance or liability coverage, so anything like that. It really seems like I missed a step somewhere here, because guess I didn't. I think I did, but oh well. Okay, so you can attend what they call, sometimes they have a pre-bid meeting, and this is a meeting they have before the deadline of your request of proposal. And you can get more information here, more detailed information about what they really want, what the customer really wants, any more documentation that you need, clarification on anything you have questions on, if you need just more of an understanding of what they really, really want, this is where you would go to get that. Okay. So, to explain there's all that. So to explain the request for proposal, the business, what happens here is the business puts up this request. And it looks like this. It's pretty much what it is. So you get all the information out, and you have to have your cover sheet with all the information on it. You have to have, it has to be what they said, one-sided, single-space pages. It has to be exact detail of what this says. And if you fail to do it to the way they've explained it, or to answer questions the way they want, then your contract could get thrown out, and you may not get it. You may not get the job because of that. So it's important that you read all these and you answer it in complete detail and give them everything they want. But that is what that looks like. And prior to this deadline, so this would be due December 1st of 20 whatever, and so before this is when they would have that pre-meeting. Make sense? Okay, now explaining the request for a quote. So when the technical specifications are already known for the project, then the company can have a qualified staff write a request for a quote to request the cost of the services and equipment. So generally an RFQ will have three main parts. It'll have the organizational overviews, which is the background information of the company issuing the RFQ. Required deliverables, what the end product of the project is. This would include any device type with any instructions that you may need to do. I suppose we could pull this up. That is what the organizational overview is. So required deliverables, and their example in here is if the company wants to install an 1841 router or a similar device, then in this section, deliverable section would include the device type and the scripting that may need to be required. And any assumptions or agreements, and this is the terms of the project budget, the submission date, the types of support the company will provide, and by submitting a proposal of an RFQ, the contractor agrees to the terms in this section. Okay, so in this little activity, we identify sections and components in an RFQ. So you drag the characteristics on the right to match the parts of the RFQ. So now remember, we had the organizational overview, which was pretty much background information on the company. Okay. Background information on the company. Woohoo! Probably type of business would go in there. Okay, required deliverables. That was any hardware, type of device used in the implementation. Description of the end product of the project. I'm not positive about that. Assumptions and agreements. This would be the budget. And support the company will provide. Check. There we go. Guess I'm learning something. Okay. How did I lose that page? Okay, the account manager, the roles of account manager is she pretty much, the company will receive the RFP, and the account manager gets the task of responding to that and maintaining the relationship with that customer. So, from the get-go. She wants to start, or he wants to start um, start off with good rapport with this company, because they're going to be contacting this account manager at all times, that they're the contact person. So you, through the whole PPDIOO network cycle, this is their first contact, and so it's important that they remain in have good rapport with these people. So an account manager has to have good communication skills, so they can communicate everything, and um, they need to know how to meet the sale and revenue goals, communication of new products and technologies to the customer, and planning and budgeting. Um, some of that stuff that I'm not real good at. But that's pretty much what they need to do. So then you have the roles of the explaining the roles of the account manager. That's the same thing. It's pretty much what we just talked about: negotiating, maintaining sales and service contract. Um, yeah, they pretty much wear the load as far as communicating it. They have other people underneath them that help them out, and that would be this pre-sales system engineer. And this person assists the account manager and customers for upgrades or additions to the customer's network. This person provides assistance in the plan and design phase to help determine the technical requirements and propose any network changes. And they pretty much work with the account manager, because the account manager actually relies on them to give them the information that he needs to pass it on to the customers. So it's kind of like the PPDIOO plan, except for you have the account manager and the pre-sale system engineer, and so but it's kind of a stepping stone thing. Everybody down here needs to know their stuff and push it up to the top, so that that top person can push it out to the customer and the whole business can be successful. That's my explanation of it. So the network designer, this person needs to know all types. Pretty much says it in the name. You are the designer, so you need to know your stuff. Technology stuff, equipment, your networking stuff, skills that will provide a network design to meet the requirements of scalability, availability, security, manageability. So the network designer is involved in the plan and design phase. To get back here where I need to be in my book. So the roles of it says right here, even the network designer is responsible for. You analyze the customer's goals, constraints, and orders to determine the technical requirements of the design. So this person is relying on the person that does the prepare phase and the plan phase, and this person's relying on the person doing the prepare phase and the plan phase to get this person the network designer, the right information on what the company wants for their new design, so they can figure it out and design it. And design and supervise a proof of concept testing. So everybody has to work good together. So the roles of the network designer is pretty much what I said. You have to know your stuff, and you have to be highly qualified. I mean, look, these guys go out, they're Cisco design professionals, they're CCDPs, and they have to have their design certificate. They have to have their networking, they have to have the classes we're taking plus more to be able to do this. Okay, roles of the post-sales field engineer. So the responsibility for these guys are responsible for the installation of the new network equipment and the implementation, operation, and optimize phases is where they put these people. The post-sales field engineer takes over the tech support responsibilities such as install assistance and acceptance testing, troubleshooting of components and systems, resolve technical problems the customer may encounter, training and assistance to the customer with managing and configuring devices. So the training required for the post-sales field engineer includes the basic and advanced networking technology courses. So some of these, like your voice over IP and pretty much a lot of training. We can do it, guys. Let's get her done. All right. So we are going to drag the box to the appropriate area. Budget for accounts and negotiates the contracts. That would be the account manager. Identifies current problems. Assists the designer during the survey. That would be plans, creates, implements a design, anticipates effects of a change. Supports customer training, resolve technical problems. This is this one. This is this one, so that would be this one. I hope. Yay. So that pretty much sums it up. I'm pretty sure that I did this kind of goofy, but hopefully you guys got it all figured out and understood it. Because, yeah. It's just kind of a reality check in my head of how big this really is and how many people it takes to put all this together and work it together. You just, until you get to going through something like this, you don't even really understand it, how big something like this really is. So I hope this helps us out, and if you're watching this from the video and I'm not present, that means I had a grandbaby. So I just didn't want to lose out on my 300 points. That's why I did it this way. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Have a great day, and I hope this all makes sense.